Hey guys, Christian the Haver Card Man here today, doing my first ever Yu-Gi-Oh video. And today we're going to be doing a deck profile of my Prank Kids deck in 2020 using the January 2020 ban list format. My plan with this is to actually have this be like the base deck profile and then be able to mess with this deck as much as I can to make it like the best version it can possibly be. So I'm going to start off with like the pure Prank Kids format, and I'm going to try to evolve it as best I can through a different series. I'm going to try to like involve different engines into it. So for right now, I'm just throwing out the bare bones pure Prank Kids variant to you guys. And yeah, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get straight into the profile. So right off the bat, running 3 Dropsies, 3 Fansies, 3 Lampsies, and 3 Roxies. These guys are super essential. This is your main Prank Kids engine. This is what lets the deck actually function, and you need to run all 3 copies of each one of these cards, because the more that you see in your hand, the more that you'll be able to pop off with your combo, and the better things will be. So obviously, each of these Prank Kids monsters lets you special summon out a different Prank Kids monster from your hand or deck, and it has to be a different one, but to your side of the field, then you can pop off with combos from there. Dropsies gains you 1,000 life points and special summons. Fansies sends one of your Prank Kids cards to the graveyard and then special summons. So kind of like a Foolish Burial. Lampsies burns for 500, then special summons. And then Roxies lets you banish a card from your hand and draw a new card, so you can kind of shape your hand around with him. All super awesome. Really good deck for playing with time when you've got Dropsies and Lampsies. And then Fansies and Roxies. Roxies, once again, you can use to build your hand. Fansies, you can build your graveyard. So you can kind of move the cards around the way you want them and get things where you need to be in order to make everything run smoothly. Otherwise, for monsters, I'm not running anything else in this deck other than 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. An obvious hand trap, only 2 though, otherwise it becomes kind of bricky since you can only use 1 per turn. I guess we'll just go ahead and move right on to the spells then. So first up, we're running our sets of the Prank Kids spell cards. I'm only running 2 copies of Prank Kids Pandemonium, just because it does limit you to being only able to special summon Prank Kids monsters for the rest of the turn. But it is really nice, though, because it is this deck's polarization. You can easily search it out, and it is a quick play spell, so you can activate it on your opponent's turn to disrupt plays and go into some serious combos on their turn. So I really do love this card. I love running it at 2. If I do draw it in my hand, I can use it. I would much rather draw into a polarization or an invocation, though. So I'm only running 2 copies of this, just once again, because I can search it if I really do need it, and that way I have a second copy as well. Next up, we have 3 copies of Prank Kids Place. This card acts as another Prank Kids monster in your hand. So essentially, you have 15 Prank Kids cards or Prank Kids monsters in the deck, because when it's activated, you can add a Prank Kids monster from your deck to your hand. And then if you fusion summon a monster, your monsters gain 500 attack points. If you link summon a monster, your opponent's monsters lose 500. So not only is it good for getting that extra damage, it's also good for chain blocking. If you use this at the end of your chains, you can prevent your opponent from Ash Blossoming. Next up is Prank Kids Pranks. Basically, this is a way to get into your link plays and start with your combos right away. And then its second effect during the end phase, you can shuffle 3 Prank Kids cards back into your deck and then draw cards. So it's kind of like a recurring pot of avarice for the deck. It is really helpful to recur those resources and be able to get that draw power. So don't underestimate this card. I am only running 2 because, once again, it does get bricky. You can only use each of its effects once per turn, and you can also search it as well. So I really don't like running more than 2. So that's it for the Prank Kids spell cards. For the rest of the ones we got in the deck, we are running 3 copies of Polarization. I am also running 2 copies of Invocation. This card is just incredible, being able to fusion summon monsters from your hand, so it's just another fusion card, especially really good for drawing turn 1. Next up, we also have 2 copies of Instant Fusion in this deck, because our 2 main fusion monsters are level 5s. So you can easily pop those out turn 1. This kind of works in the same essence as Prank Kids Pranks. It brings you out of the material, so you can go into your link summons, or if you've already got Prank Kids set up in the graveyard, you can bust out Instant Fusion, be able to play your Rocket Ride, tribute it, and bring back 2 Prank Kids monsters and go off the combos from there. We are running 1 copy of Fusion Recycling Plant. We're also running 3 copies of Called by the Grave because, once again, like I said, this deck is severely susceptible to hand traps. Ash Blossoms, Effect Veilers, Ghost Ogres, and Snow Rabbits. All of those hand traps. We have the 1 copy of Terraforming, just so you can search out either your Fusion Recycling Plant if you already have a Prank Kids Place on the field, or you search out a Prank Kids Place. So the last of our spell cards here, we have 2 copies of Twin Twisters. So that's it for the spell cards. we'll go ahead and move on to the trap cards. We only have 5 total in this deck, and we'll start off with our Prankins trap cards. We are running 2 copies of Prankins Plan. During the main phase, you can link someone on your opponent's turn. It essentially is an IP Masquerada for the deck. It is a continuous trap, so it does stay on the field after this ability is gone off, which means that the first copy will not be able to activate the second effect on this card, which is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish this card from your graveyard and shuffle all of your Prankins cards in your graveyard into your deck, and then your opponent's monster loses 100 attack for each card shuffled. The important part is being able to shuffle all of your resources back into the deck so you can start off with your combos all over again, especially when we're only running like 1 copy of a Prankins Battle Butler and 1 copy of Prankins Run Roaster. If those are in your graveyard, you can easily use the Prankins Plan to set those, plus all of your other Prankins main deck monsters back into the deck, and then you can reuse them again next turn. We're also running 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. The reason that we're not running 3 in Perm is because we have 1 red reboot. With this new ban list, there's only 1 copy allowed per deck. Otherwise, I would have totally traded out the last 2 Infinite Impermanence for this red reboot, because it's a hand trap that's like a trap stun. I mean, what more could you ask for with a deck that wants to blow up your opponent's board and OTK? Okay, that's all we got for the main deck, so let's go ahead and start off with the extra deck with the fusion monsters. So first up here, we have 2 copies of Prankins Rocket Ride. You could also tribute him to target 2 Prankins non-fusion monsters with different names in your graveyard and special summon them, but they cannot attack. So that's really not a huge deal, the not attacking part. You just want to get more materials on your field to get into different plays in your extra deck. And I do want to state right now, I probably should have stated this earlier in the video, this deck is intended for Master Rule 5 coming out in April. We're also running 2 copies of Weather Washer, essentially the same as Rocket Ride, and he can tribute himself as a quick effect during your opponent's turn, only during your opponent's turn, to do the same thing, special summon 2 non-fusion Prankins monsters with different names from your graveyard to the field. Next up, the last of our fusion monsters, we have 1 Prankins Battle Butler. This is your Raigeki in the deck. Just takes 1 Lampsies, 1 Dropsies, and 1 Fansies as fusion material. And then as a quick effect, you can tribute him, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. So he is the Raigeki of the deck, super powerful. Next up, we have 2 copies of Prankins Doodle-Doo. This is my main Link monster, just a Link 2 involving 2 Prankins monsters. And if he's Link summoned, you can add 1 Prankins spell or trap from your deck to the hand, so easily searches out things like Prankins Plan, Pandemonium, Place, Pranks. You can search out any of those just with Doodle-Doo. All it takes is 2 Prankins monsters, super easy. And then you can also tribute him to target 2 different Prankins cards with different names in your graveyard except linked monsters and add them to your hand. Super useful effect. It is not a quick effect and you can only do it on your turn. That is one downside Doodle-Doo. But Bow Wow Bark makes up for this in that he is the same way in terms of summoning, only requires 2 Prankins monsters as a Link 2. And then during your opponent's turn as a quick effect, you can also tribute this card and target 2 Prankins cards in different. And so the same effect as Doodle-Doo, but doing it on your opponent's turn. And then when you tribute him with this effect, Prankins monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Running him at 2 as well as Doodle-Doo, just because they are both essential Link monsters for the deck. They put you up into so many different combos. So next up in Prankins Link monsters, the last one for the Prankins anyways, is the Prankins Ripper Roaster that I've been talking about. This is your Harpy's Feather Duster for the deck. So it just requires 2+ Prankins monsters as a Link 4. Once again, you can tribute this guy as a quick effect and then destroy all spell trap cards your opponent controls. We are running 3 non-Prankins Link monsters in this deck. First up, we have Saryuja Skulldread. He's just kind of there like in the event that I do need him, that I need to search through my deck. Next up, we also have Borrelsword Dragon. Really easy to OTK with this deck. We also have a Borrelo Dragon for problematic cards in this deck. There's definitely reasons to play Borrelo Dragon in this deck. In case you can't pop off of the Borrelsword Dragon, it is good to have the Borrelode as backup. So last up for the extra deck, we have 2 Exceeds monsters. We have our 1 copy of Totally Awesome. Requires 2 level 2 level 2 Aqua type monsters, which is your Prankins Dropsies. I just really love having Totally Awesome here. I agree with everyone that says that Prankins needs Totally Awesome. It is an amazing card. And then last up, we just have an Abyss Dweller, kind of same situation as Totally Awesome. It's just 2 level 4 monsters, which is your Roxy's. I guess that's it for the main deck. The extra deck, we'll go ahead and peek at the side deck really quick. So we're just going to go really quick through the side deck because all these are really basic, just hand trappy type of stuff. So we got 3 Artifact Lancia, Effect Veiler, more Disruption, stopping opponents' monster effects. We have 3 copies of Gamma Seal, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Once again, it helps with Floodgates, so you can just tribute it off. 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Once again, just another good hand trap, just another way to disrupt your opponents and stop them from popping off into super combos. 3 copies of Nibiru, the Primal Being. And finally, we have our last copy of Twin Twisters. Just in the event that we are going against a back row deck, we can easily side this in between matches. That's all we got for this deck profile. we'll just go ahead and hop over. We'll do one going first hand and one going second hand really quick, and I'm just going to make these go as fast as possible. Alright guys, so here we are doing the test hands. This is going to be a going first test hand, just so you can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. So we actually opened up an okay hand here. We do have the means to go into our combos like normal. So to start off, we'll probably first activate our Fusion Recycling Plant, use its effect, discard our Fansies, and then we will search for polymerization. Actually, in hindsight, we'd probably activate the Prankid's Place first. Because if they ash that, at least we can still go into a fusion and pop off the combos from there. But we're not going to be too worried about it. So then now we'll activate our Prankid's Place. Probably going to have to get Roxy's because you really want to get his effect off right away because he is the hardest one to use. As soon as you run out of cards in the hand, you're not able to use his ability. So we'll use him and the Fansies to special summon out. Once again, we are playing with Master Rule 5. So we'll special summon out our Rocket Ride. We'll have Rocket Ride be Chainlink 3, with our Roxy's as Chainlink 1 and Fansies as Chainlink 2, so we'll resolve backwards. Rocket Ride will cut his attack points in half. Then we'll have Fansies go off, so now we go into our deck, and we can send a Prankid's card. We're actually going to send Pandemonium. Is usually one of the first ones I want to send, so we'll send that, and then now we can special summon off of him with a Lampsies. And then after that, now we can go ahead and banish the red reboot in our hand. Draw a card. I know it really does hurt to get rid of that red reboot. Okay, so we drew into Pandemonium. That will happen from time to time. You'll just end up doing that with this deck. That's perfectly fine. So we'll special summon our Dropsies in defense. And now we can send Dropsies and Lampsies to the grave for a Link summon. Bring out Doodle-Doo. Have Lampsies Chainlink 1, Doodle-Doo Chainlink 2, and then Dropsies Chainlink 3. Because we really want the Doodle-Doo resolve. So we'll burn our opponent for, or actually we'll first gain 1,000. So then we can now special summon out our Roxy's in defense. And then with Doodle-Doo, we can now add Prank Kids. We can actually use the Prank Kids Pandemonium in our hand to our advantage. We can add Prank Kids Pranks. And then now we can special summon out our second copy of Prank Kids Roxy's in defense mode. Just because this is a case where you would be able to go into an Abyss Dweller plays, so we'll go ahead and do that. So we've got that, so now on our opponent's turn, we'll be able to use that to go into more plays. So then now we can tribute our Doodle-Doo to the grave. We'll add Dropsies and Lampsies to our hand, so that now we can tribute Rocket Ride to the grave, and we can special summon out Doodle-Doo, because it just has to be a non-fusion monster. Link monsters still work, and this one does not need to be Link summoned. And then we can special summon out our Fansies as well, because then with this, now we can go ahead and activate Prankid's Pranks. We're going to want that anyways, just to make life easier. And then we will actually go ahead and we're going to say we put our Fansies in defense mode just for beneficial sake. So we'll set our Prankid's Pandemonium so that on our turn we can spring this Pandemonium on them. We can either use the 2 in our hand to go into a Weather Washer, or we can use the Fansies as well on the field and go into a Prankid's Battle Butler and make the Raigeki on the field so we can blow up our opponent's monster zones, so that'll be good there. Didn't quite get to go into the Ripper and Roaster. We definitely could have. We could have, instead of using the Roxy's for the Abyss Dwellers, we could have summoned 2 different Prankid's monsters and then gone off into our Ripper and Roaster with a Bow Wow Bark combo and done different stuff there. So, yeah, let's go ahead and try out a quick going second hand. Okay, guys, so as you can see here, this is a going second hand. Our opponent has set up a board, albeit not a very good one. I'm using my alt account right now as the other side of this, so I just kind of threw some stuff on there just to show that they have a board. So we're not going to worry about breaking it. We're just going to worry about going to our plays, and I guess we'd probably end up breaking it from there. So we'll go ahead. We'll start off. So we drew an infinite impermanence. That's definitely good here. So we'll go ahead and activate our Prankid's Place first and foremost. And we will search, probably just go for something that we don't really want to worry too much about banishing with Roxy. So we'll probably just add a Dropsies to our hand because we still know we have 2 more copies in the deck, so we can work with that. So we'll activate Polymerization. We always want to do Roxy's and Fansies first because those are your 2 most vital ones. Okay, so we'll kind of follow somewhat of the same pattern as last time. Chainlink 3 Rocket Ride, Chainlink 2 Fansies, Chainlink 1 Roxy's. He cuts his attack down to 1,000. We use Fansies. This time we're actually going to be smart. We're going to send a Prankid's Pranks to the graveyard. No, Prankid's Plan to the graveyard. can special summon Dropsies in defense mode. And then now we get Roxy's ability. So we will banish our Dropsies, draw a card. Then we can special summon out Lampsies from our deck. So we'll link these two away again. Our Doodle-Doo again. We'll just special summon out both of those. Doesn't matter all that much because we're not going to go to the Abyss Dweller this time since we're second turn. Obviously, our opponent would have already established any sort of graveyards. So we'll go ahead and link those two away. Bring out Bow Wow Bark. And then now we can actually use these two to link away to the grave. Oh, I forgot the Doodle-Doo search. I am totally sorry. I completely forgot that. So this time we would have searched for Pandemonium because I do have a plan in mind. So we'll have a Pandemonium to our hand. I'm really sorry that I forgot that. I'm kind of skipping some things here. Okay, so we got that. And we get our Ripper and Roaster. Special summon that out. And then we can immediately use it right away to blow up our opponent's back row. Okay, so our opponent's back row is blown up. We're good to go there. And then now we tribute off our Rocket Ride. Bring out Doodle-Doo and Bow Wow Bark back to the field. Now, at this point, there is two different directions we could go, both of which do pretty much involve tributing off our Doodle-Doo. So we'll just go ahead and do that right now because we do need it. So we'll add a Fansies and a Dropsies to our hand because now we have the full Prank Kids playset in our hand. Easy enough to work with. So now we're left with the Bow Wow Bark in the field, Pandemonium, plus all 4 Prank Kids in hand. So like I said, there are several ways we can go with this. Personally, I think the best one would be to probably just attack with Bow Wow Bark, set Pandemonium in main phase 2, and pass. So that way on your opponent's turn, you activate the Pandemonium, use these 3 to go into a Battle Butler. You have a Raigeki on the field as a quick effect tribute cost. So you can go there and then you'd be able to special summon out 3 more Prank Kids monsters. You can also tribute off your Bow Wow Bark, get 2 resources back to your hand, including your Pandemonium. So you'll be able to fusion off next turn, and all of your Prank Kids monsters that are on the field will be safe from card effects. The other way is setting your Pandemonium, going into your opponent's turn, activating your Pandemonium using 2 of the Prank Kids monsters in your hand to special summon out Weather Washer, use the 2 Prank Kids that you use as materials to special summon out 2 more Prank Kids from the deck, and then have your Weather Washer next to your Bow Wow Bark so it gains 1,000 attack points. And then you can also tribute off your tribute off your Bow Wow Bark first to recur resource to your hand, the Pandemonium plus 1 monster, and then you can actually tribute your Weather Washer at that point and bring out your Bow Wow Bark and your Doodle-Doo again and pop off with even more combos. So there is so much potential with this deck, so much room for disruption, so much room for just playing on your opponent's turn and just kind of screwing them over a little bit, kind of taking over their turn for them, because as soon as they do something or change phases, you could just pop off like crazy. Granted, you do have to be in the main phase for Pandemonium. That is the one downside of this, so be aware of that. You do have to wait for your opponent to activate something in the main phase or pass priority to you, so do keep that in mind. But really, with this hand, there is so much you can do to pop off with, and this field, it's just insane. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Prank Kids deck profile plus a couple of test hands. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I really just wanted to kind of showcase the potential of Prank Kids. If you guys have any ideas as to any kind of variants I can do with this deck, or any variants you would like to see done with this deck that might make it a little bit stronger, please let me know down in the comments section or message me directly on like Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. I'll have links to those in the description, so feel free to check those out. But yeah, so just hit me up there. Let me know what you guys want to see on this, and let me know any other decks you want me to do a series of this with. I do plan on doing one for Heroes, most likely Fluffles. I have a few deck profiles in mind that I want to do this kind of thing with, so please let me know down in the comments kind of stuff you'd like to see. I do also plan on doing Magic the Gathering content for this channel. Keep an eye open for that. This is just the start of a channel and something that I really want to grow into. So thank you guys again. Have a wonderful day. See you all next time. Peace out.